might not really enjoy it, because you end up designing the logo, and maybe the rust is going to be pixelated. And in Illustrator, the end product of Photoshop is a raster image. The end product of Photoshop is a raster image. And then we also talk in the material, we talked about vector images, and we said that the end product of vector images the end product of Illustrator is a vector image. And the vector images are images that they are directly opposite of raster images. They do not pixelate. They have a wide zoom range. So that is basically one of the reasons why it is good to use Illustrator to do your logos. There are other softwares that design in vector images, but for now we are going to be learning Photoshop. We are going to be using Illustrator. So we are going to be going through a project. I did not send the image for this project to us, but we won't start the project today. We would start with basic things that we can use Illustrator to do. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now, so we'll be able to see it. Please, can we hear me? All right, thank you. So we won't be taking too long for this class. So we will try as much as possible to finish early. So okay, I'm sharing my screen already. So what you can see on my screen are basic shapes that were made on Adobe Illustrator. So since you're already familiar with Photoshop, the interface here is almost okay. Let me not say it's almost the same, but they are just similar tools here. In Illustrator that we have in Photoshop. For example, we have the move tool here. If you see the tools panel, we see two different type of move tools. This is the first one is the selection tool, is to select things and move things, but the second one is the direct selection tool. So with the direct selection tool, you can select things directly. What do I mean? For example, maybe you put all these things in a group. So let me just demonstrate that. Now I've highlighted everything. I press Ctrl G on my keyboard. I've grouped everything. So if I use the move tool, you select everything as a group. But if I select the direct selection tool, it is going to, I could pick something directly in the group. So now all these are in a group, but you're selecting this directly. But you can still use the move tool to select everything in the group, just that it's kind of a longer process. So how you can do that is, maybe I want to select this circle. Now that I've selected the whole group, so I'll double click again, then I click. So now it has selected the tool, the circle shape. But sometimes there are sometimes that there are things that are embedded, like in a group. You can have a lot of groups together. So as if there are 9 groups, that means I'll keep double clicking, select, double clicking, select, like 9 to 10 times before I now reach particular ones I want. But instead of double clicking and selecting, I could just select my direct selection tool and select the tool. We just select it immediately. So that way, I think like that we have covered 2 major tools in Photoshop, in Illustrator, sorry. That is the selection tool and the direct selection tool. So like I said, we'll be learning as per project. We'll be learning what things that we need per se. So let me just ungroup this. So okay, on group. So today we are going to be learning how to build shapes in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to be learning how to build shapes in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, someone said he's not seeing the screen. Please, can everyone else see my screen? If you are not seeing my screen, pin my screen to your screen. Pin my screen to your own side. What Google Meet does is selects the person that has maybe the audio. Use the audio to pick a screen for you. So you can now decide to pick your own screen that you'll be seeing. So select my own screen and view it. I can see my screen from here. I can see my screen from here. Okay, so I'll continue. So today we're going to be learning how to use Illustrator to build shapes. So and these are just basic shapes in so this was prepared by our other instructor who is unavoidably absent, so I'm stepping in for him today. So so the tool I selected now is the artboard tool. The shortcut to select the tool is Shift O. So artboards are the workspaces that you work on. So this white space here is an artboard. Please, can we hear me? Are we here? All right, thank you for your response. So this first artboard is this white space is an artboard. So if I select, and in Illustrator and the latest versions of Photoshop, you can have different artboards. So if I come here and select my artboard tool, I can decide to draw whatever artboard I want. It gives me another space to work with, or I can duplicate that artboard. So I hold Alt on my keyboard and I drag out. So that is duplicating the artboard. So I'm just going to remove all this. So I want to show us. We are going to start with building the shapes. So now there are different shapes that we learned in Photoshop. So don't forget, we said that any tool that's that little dot at the edge it means that it has other other tools under it. So you see the shape tool, where you see the box or the line, you right click on it. The line segment, we show that tool, arc tool, spiral tool. We are still going to go to all that, but now we are focusing on the shape tool. So I right click and it brings out the shapes that I have. It brings out the shape that I have. So now I want to draw the circle. So I click on the circle tool, and now I want to draw a perfect circle, but I can't really draw a perfect circle per se with my hands. So you can either follow the grid, this smart guide. We call it smart guide. You see my screen now, you can see this pink line. It's showing me that okay, this circle is already perfect like this, the way that plus in the middle is. But sometimes it might not show that, or I might not take note of that. So in order to draw a perfect circle, when I start drawing, I would shift down on my keyboard. So no matter how much I move, no matter how I do it, it is still going to be drawing a perfect circle. It's going to be drawing a perfect circle. So now that is how to draw a perfect circle. So any shape you try to draw in Illustrator or in Photoshop, when you are dragging, when you start, take note, you start drawing first, you hold down your shift key, and you do whatever you do. So no matter how much you bend your hand per se, because our hands are not that straight, we have not trained our hands to be straight like that. So any shape, so anytime you want to draw the shape, you start drawing first, then you hold down shift, then when you are done, you release your left mouse button first before you release the shift button. Do we understand that? All right, thank you, sir. So we move on to the next thing. So now in Photoshop, we said that if you are going to change the color of a shape, I think some of these things I'll just go over them. But on the Telegram page on Saturday, our other instructor told us a few things about it. So that's why I'm not going on about setting up the workspace and all those things have been said on Telegram. So if you've not seen it, you can check the messages on the Telegram group page and you will see them there. How to do this thing. So I'll just go through the basics, but majorly we are going to be majorly focusing on maybe working on a project. So we go on. So I was going to say changing the color of a shape here. He said in Photoshop you go to the layers, then but here the layers you see here, they won't really help you that much. You might not really need to be coming in contact with the layers panel. The only thing you might want to see is maybe what shape, if this guy's layer is on top of the other shapes layer or whatever. If one layer is on top of the layer, you want to come here. So I select this circle. This blue dot beside it here is telling me that okay, this is the layer that I selected. So I want to know if the circle layer is on top of the rectangle layer. So on the layer I see that oh no, the rectangle layer is on top. So I just come here and drag under. So I've transferred the rectangle layer to the bottom of the circle layer. But now I want to change the color. If I double click here, nothing happens. It just shows me if I want to lock the rectangle or if I want to rename it. So this is where I will rename it Timothy. So if I name it Timothy, the name of that layer there changes to Timothy. But I want to change the color. So I select the layer. So if you look at the left side of my screen, the left panel of my screen, you see the color. You see that my square has a green fill. The inner fill is green, but the stroke outside it is black. But then I don't want it to have any stroke and I want to change the color to red. So what I'll do is I click on this stroke, the stroke color box. I click on it and I come here. See this white box showing the dash, red dash around it. It means that I don't want any color for the stroke. So if I click on it, it's going to take away the stroke of the square. So you can see the square now, it doesn't have any stroke. So if I go, so now I want to change the fill color. So I go to the green box, click on it. I double click on it, it brings out the color box. So I want to change it to maybe, okay, I said yellow, so I'll change it to yellow here. So say okay. Oh, I did. Now you see that I didn't select the layer, so nothing changed. So now I make sure that whatever color you want to change, the layer is selected. So I select the square layer, double click, you go out the layer panel, and I pick the color that I want. I say okay. So now I have changed the color, but then I want to now I want to give it a stroke. So I go there, double click on it, and then maybe choose what color stroke I want. Sorry. Okay, let's say black with maybe a deep blue. So I say okay, and then yeah. So now, but then I want to increase the size of the stroke. So if you look at the top panel here, that's, remember we said in Photoshop whenever I select a new to the top panel, it changes. The top panel changes. Sorry, please. So okay. So sorry about that. Sorry, trying to rectify everything. So what I was saying that okay, now the square, I want to increase the weight of the shape, because okay, I want a bigger, a thicker I want a thicker size for the square shape. So all I do is I select my square shape. Now when I select it, if you look up here, you see stroke. So it shows the number of the stroke that is there. So I can just click the drop down and select maybe a particular number and select 20. So you see that I selected 20 and increase the size of the. But let's say that just like in Photoshop, if the numbers there are not enough for me, I could just come here and just input my number 500 and it will increase the size of the shape, it increase the size of the stroke. So that is how to fill the color of a shape and also the stroke. So please, if you don't mind, can you just excuse me for a few minutes? Hello? Yes, sir. I did. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Response sí mo sí lórí fóònù. Wọ́n fẹ́ sẹ́ndì, wọ́n fẹ́ gbowó lọ́wọ́ mi. Mo bẹ́ẹ̀ lè bá wọn mi sẹ́ndì. Transfer pocket to different. Somebody I've gotten it. Alright, sorry about that. I had to resolve some things here. So, I hope you are still. Yes? Okay, sir. What button, sir? You right click on it, not left click. You right click on your keyboard. You're supposed to bring that out. I just tried it on my system. It's doing it. Oh, okay. Maybe you should close your Illustrator and reopen it and see if it works. So you're supposed to bring it out when you right click on the shape. So all right, thank you. So we'll continue. So please, okay. I already explained how to do this thing. So have you been able to solve the issue, sir? All right, sorry. So sorry, I'm not too organized today. I'm really sorry about that. So we were talking about the shapes. So I think all these things have been said on the Telegram page. So if you are still having issues with it, just go on Telegram page and look at the charts before it and see where our other instructor explained this to us. So I just want to show us how to build different shapes. Sometimes when you want to design a logo, so the logo process is getting the information, getting your don't forget we talked about designing with your eyes and your mind. So maybe you imagine the logo that you want to do, you go on other places, get your inspiration, get everything together, then you sketch your logo out, or maybe your paper, your sketch pad, your jotter, and then maybe you take the picture. So sometimes in logos sometimes your logo might be made up of different shapes that come together to now form a particular kind of shape. So I'm going to show you how to build a shape out of different shapes. Okay, for example, I want to combine all these shapes together and turn them to one. So first of all, I'm going to draw my shapes. Okay, maybe I want to please just look at what I'm doing. I want to join this and then so bring this here. Maybe this is the logo I'm trying to create. For example, just a little example, and then this is the logo. Okay, you know what, I want us to do a logo that we are conversant with. So I'm going to maybe do trying to see the Adidas logo, the first Adidas logo. It is good if we have that and see how they do it. So sometimes the logos that you see, there are a lot of inspirations that come together to form it. So this is the former Adidas logo. So we'll try to create this logo now. So maybe this is what I want to create. So I'm going to go to my Illustrator now. Now it is important to learn to see the shapes that things are made of, to see what the shapes that things are made up of. So in this Adidas logo now, can someone tell me maybe you can just try, you don't have to get it completely per se, but please can you try to just tell me the different shapes that you think we can bring together to form this logo? Anybody? Okay. All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Moyo, you wanted to say something? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Everybody is correct. Everybody is correct. So that is just to show that our ability to see things and bring out shape in things is important for us is really important for us as logo designers if you are going to be building logos. So Adidas, so okay, so let us start. So I'm going to Adidas now. So here I'm going to, so how this logo is built is there is a circle. There is a big circle that forms everything. So I'm just going to be going with black. So this is black. So this is the big circle that forms everything. And then, so I press Ctrl R my keyboard to bring out the ruler. I want to get the center of the circle. So I'm going to bring a ruler to the center of the circle that is showing me the center of the circle. Maybe another one here which is necessary. So let me just bring this here. I think here. Yeah, so that's the center of the circle. So now we are going to move to the next thing. So let me not fill it up, let me just give it a stroke around it so that we'll be able to see it. So then the next thing I'll do is the center. this, I'm going to form this this part of the logo, this first middle here. This first center here. So I'm going to draw here. So maybe this here is forming this, and then yes, so I'll try to make it a bit smaller. Now take note, I've created like a grid, kind of a small alignment for myself by bringing in those two rulers. So this straight ruler, the vertical ruler, is showing me the center, this center here, that the two arrows are touching, is helping me get this place, the joint here, so that they are almost perfect. And then this is helping me get the diagonal, the horizontal is getting the center of the two shapes. So now that I have formed the first one, so we look at the logo again, and then now I want to get this image in the center here. I want to get it out. So now that I have joined the two shapes, I am going to cut out just this center from the two images. So how do I do that? I would select my now whenever you want to form a shape, there's a tool in Photoshop, in Illustrator, called the shape builder tool. So now I want to use the shape builder tool to cut out just this center of the logo. So I'm going to select the circle, the two circles that form the shape. Now take note, if you don't select everything together, if you just select one shape and you think it's going to cut it out, it's not going to cut it out. You have to select everything that makes up that shape that you want to add together or subtract. But first I will just duplicate this circle to keep it, so that I'll be able to get the other two ones that are here. So I'll just keep that here. I'll select the first circle, the second circle. Then if you look here, this is the shape builder tool, and the shortcut for it is Shift M on your keyboard. So I click on, now that I have selected the two shape builder tools, I click on Shift M. I select Shift M. Now if you see where my mouse is, because I have selected the two shapes, anywhere I put my mouse is going to show me the shapes that are out there. So please excuse me, sorry. Responsibility design to make correction with it. Who are the Photoshop? But he send correction to embassy. Yes, she might be no. Alright, so now that I've selected this one, now it's telling me that this here is a shape that has been formed. This middle here is a shape that has been formed. This outer part here is a shape that has been formed. So now to form the shape, I'll just click. If you see, it is showing a plus sign under it. So if I click on it once, it will just create that shape out. It will just create that shape out. I've clicked on it now. That's built that shape. I've clicked on the center. That's built up that shape. That's cut out that part of the circles and built it up as a shape. I click here. This has become a shape. So now if I select my move tool, you see it. If I try to move, it's going to move just the center, that shape in the center, because it has formed a new shape out of those guys. Did we see that? Are we here? Alright, thank you. So but then let's say that I just want to subtract the other parts. I don't want to just click on and form shapes and later the whole place. I'll just hold Alt on my keyboard, so it's going to show a minus. So anytime I drag over like this, it's going to remove this shape. So I hold Alt and it removes that space out. So now we already have the first thing in the center. So now we move on to the next one. So now the other ones too, they are similar to it. So all we just do is press Ctrl C and Ctrl F on the keyboard. What it does is copying and duplicating on that same position. So here I have two shapes, not one. But if I say Ctrl C and Ctrl V, it's going to go and paste it somewhere else around the artboard. So if I press Ctrl V now, it's pasting it somewhere else. But here I press Ctrl C, Ctrl F, it's pasting it on the same position. So you might not know if it has duplicated the shape, but it has duplicated it. So now I'm going to try to move that shape out. So I have that shape here. So I'll just look at this and then, okay, I think this is meant to be a guide for me to get it. See, I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, this, I'll try to increase the size and see. Okay. Okay, so their base have to be on the same place. So the reason for all this grid is so that for alignment, for the best alignment and getting a perfect shape kind of out of it. So I'll reduce this to their length. So now that I have this here, I want to form the other shape on the other side, but I want it to also be perfect enough as this. So I'm going to press Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Don't forget, it's pasting on the same place. But then if I try to rotate it, I might not get the exact shape I am rotating as. So what I do is I right click on it. It brings a list of options. So I'll go to transform and I'll click on reflect. So what the reflect is going to do is going to perfectly flip it the other way. Remember in Photoshop how to flip into different ways is going to edit, going to transform, then maybe flip horizontal or flip vertical. But here we want to flip it horizontally. So if I click on preview here, it's going to show you. So here it has already flipped it horizontally here. So I select horizontal. So here you can select the angle that you want, but as you can see, it has flipped it the way I want it to. So I say okay, then I move it to the other side. Don't forget I'm holding shift on my keyboard. So now I have the three shapes that are forming that wild space. So I'm going to take this point out, so I don't really need it again. So now the next thing is the three rectangles that are here. So I'm going to select my rectangular shape, and then I draw it. So now I have the shape there. So I want it to go outside. Don't forget, we are still going to cut out these shapes. So it's still the same. The rectangle under is also the same size. So I hold Alt, move it, and I have another rectangle. Okay, the space is not really. I hold Alt again. So you look at it, showing me that okay, the space between them are the same. If you see the smart guides, take note of those smart guides. They are to aid your designs, they are to help your designs to be neat, well arranged, and be good. So I think yes. So now that we have formed all the shapes, so now I won't really need the grids again. So I'll just select them, select the guide, and I'll press delete. You try to drag them back in, they won't go in. You have to delete them. So I select the guide and I delete on the keyboard. So now I want to get it, do the final thing, which is cutting out all the shape perfectly. So don't forget, you are going to select all the shapes first before using the shape builder. If I just go and click on the shape builder tool and want to try to do this thing, it's showing me that violation sign, kind of, that you can't really do anything with it. So if I click and drag, nothing happens. But then I select my move tool and maybe I'm dragging from an empty space now, so I'm trying to select all the shapes. Now that I've selected all the shapes, I click on the shape builder tool. Now I want to cut out all this. I want to cut out all these places. If you look at the logo, it is these places that are there. So I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard and I'm drawing over the areas. If you hold Alt, that means you are removing. So that means I've cut out that part. So I Ctrl Z until I remove the part. So you can do it gradually if your hands are not straight. I hold and keep holding Alt on the keyboard, and I cut out the parts that I don't need. So Alt, cutting out, Alt, cut this out. Okay, that part is not. This part is also not. Okay, so if you look here, if you look on the logo, all these parts of the logo, they are joined together. So I'm going to the logo, all these parts. Don't forget, I'm not holding Alt now. I want to join these three parts together. So I'm going to hold it. I'm not holding anything, I'm just dragging, so it's forming all the shapes together. So you zoom in, all these tiny edges that are pointing out. So I just hold Alt and remove it. Zoom in. I drag over the shape. Now I've gotten it. So I have edges pointing out. So that means that everything is okay. So you see those parts, so that means I have to go back. So I want it to be perfect, so I have to go back to the beginning, because if you notice, this small edge, this tiny little edge here is not going. That means I made a mistake since the beginning, so I go back to the part where I cut off that place. So here I'll just add up everything here, and so okay, I'll take out this part. So this part is going out. Alright, so I already got where my mistake was. This part is also going out. This part is also going out. This part is also going out. And okay, so I made the same mistake again. So I still go back. I think my mistake is here. Yeah, my mistake is here now. So okay, yeah, I think I figured out my mistake. So it's here. So mistake is here. So now I've cut out these parts. Okay, so I've gotten that part. Next one is here. Those ones are together. Okay. Okay, so all these parts are together. Okay. Yes. So that is where my mistake was. So now I've corrected my mistake so I can take out all these parts too. So now I have successfully drawn out the shapes that form the Adidas logo. So now I want to fill it up because it's just stroked here. So I select everything. Since they have the same properties, I'm going to take out the stroke and then fill it with a single black. Now we have something really close to the Adidas logo. So I can select my text tool and write my Adidas, ADIDS. So I'm going to increase the size. Take note, I'm holding shift so that I'll be able to increase the size of the font so diagonally. So increasing so I can change my font. Don't forget, you can call up your panels. Now I need the text panel so that I'll be able to change the fonts and everything. So I press Ctrl T on my keyboard. Don't forget, in Photoshop, Ctrl T is to increase the size and to reduce the size of something, but here Ctrl T is to call up this panel, the character panel. So Adidas is selected. I want another font. Okay, maybe I should use this. Let me just go with this. So we just learned how to use the shape tools, how to use the selection tools, and how to use the shape builder to form different shapes that will form a logo. Do we understand? Alright. So is there anyone that does not understand anything I said, or that has issues maybe practicing or creating what I just did? Okay, I'll take that as a no, so we can continue. So that way we just use the Adidas logo. So that is how to use the shape builder, and we use the text tool, we use the selection tool, direct selection tool, and then the shape builder tool. So I didn't send in the image, the there is an illustration that was dropped for us by other instructor for us to draw with Illustrator. You can draw with Illustrator, you can trace. So I'll be sending that to the group page this evening, and then tomorrow we are going to be doing that with the shape tool, with the pen tool. We are going to learn how to use the pen tool to draw things and then we will it out. But before that, we would get our assignment. So this is our first assignment. Like I said, today we won't be taking too much of our time. We won't be going too deep into Illustrator. We'll just be learning a few things about Illustrator. So what other logo can we use? Okay, we can use the old Adidas logo, and then we can also do the other Adidas logo. I don't even know if this is the old one or the new one, which one it is, whichever one it is. So we will do this. So I'll download the image and look for one that is sharper than this. Yeah, so I'll send them into the group this evening. So we are going to do this, and this too is here. So I'm going to be sending the link for the attendance now. Class attendance. So I'm pasting it to the group chat, to the chat section now. So please do well to mark the attendance, but don't leave yet, don't go there yet, don't leave yet please. So we are getting our assignments here, but I'll still send them to the group page. So what other logo can we do? Can anyone suggest any other logo that you want us to try out, that will take home as an assignment? I knew someone was going to say Nike. I just knew someone was going to say Nike. So alright, so Nike. So alright, Nike. Now funny enough, the simplest logos are, if you see the grid that is brought together to make the simplest logo, I think we'll still talk about the grid system. If maybe, don't forget, we are teaching you to the best of it. There are other advanced ways to do all these things that we don't know yet, that we are also learning to do it, but we teach you to the best of our knowledge. So sometimes you look at some logos that are really very simple, but actually the grid behind them. For example, if I tell you to do FedEx logo now, FedEx logo. If I tell you to do FedEx logo now, some of you will just go there and type FedEx and then do color purple and color orange. So, but if you check the grid behind FedEx, if you check the grid behind FedEx, you'll be surprised by what you see. I'm very sure some of you have not noticed this arrow in the middle before. So some logos are very, 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 very simple, but the logo, but the grid behind it, the idea that was brought together. Okay, look at Twitter now. See Twitter, a lot of circles. Now, one of the, if you look at the Twitter logo, there are different ways and grid system that used to build logos. So these circles, using of this circle to form this logo, is called the golden ratio. So golden ratio is a ratio, like a ratio that you can use to build your logos. But there are ways, it's not just drawing circles. There is a way you have to build those circles that it will be perfect enough to form a logo. So look at Apple logo to see the grid system behind it. The logo looks so simple and so classy, but when you see the ideas that are put behind logos, see this, you just see a P. They look quite simple, but the ideas and the way things are brought together. See MasterCard, just ordinary two circles. If I say someone should do MasterCard, I will bring two circles together and just build the logo. But these things, they were done, they were crafted out so that they will get perfection. So we are going to be doing the Adidas logo, Nike logo, and also the MasterCard logo. So I'll send the images to us. Don't forget, the same way you create a new document in Photoshop that you create here in Illustrator. Then tomorrow we'll be going into the full this thing. We'll learn how to use the pen tool, then using maybe a grid system. We talk about the golden ratio. And please, the link to submit these assignments will also be sent to us. Don't forget, this is the last week for this training. Take note of these things that we spoke today. Our final project, we are going to be using both Illustrator and Photoshop, and it's important for us to do it so that we will get our certificate. So thank you very much for attending today's class. I hope, is there anyone that has a question? Is there anyone that has a question? Alright, no response. So if there's no question, then thank you all for attending today's class. And visit the chat section and fill the form for attendance. Thank you very much and have a nice day.